and good morning, my relatives. We are here again today with Dr. Zimiga, and we have a couple of things we need to discuss. One of them is the passing of Joseph Marshall. What do you remember about Joseph Marshall? When?
Uh, Joseph Marshall is the third.
Mm-hmm.
And what I know is that we have had acquaintances several times throughout our lives together as young boys and adults and then him as a writer. I guess the thing that really amazes me is, in thinking about it, is how you can perceive somebody at various ages in their life, and all of a sudden to realize what depth of knowledge they have that was given to them by their ancestry and by their parents and the people that they were around. It seemed that we never did listen as boys to those around or observe, but because we were too busy, just like young pups. We were playing around, didn't have any boundaries. We had all those things, but we did learn from one another and from those that were elders around him. Joe was always a very, I would say, profound thinker, in that he started things and he finished them. I know that he later in life as an adult he worked for Zimiga University, and he really helped develop the whole concept of regeneration or rebirth of Lakota language. And that dialogue went on. And he also, I think, was on the board in the development of Zimiga. So his prose and his speaking abilities and his concepts were well received by those peers that were around him. But when he started writing, his books reached an audience that probably didn't really ever comprehend the real meaning behind Lakota thought and philosophy. And the grandfathers, the stories that they told in his writing helped me and helped others to realize that Lakota knowledge was profound, and that it was a gift, for he was a very fluent speaker.
Is that because his grandparents raised them and raised him and he didn't speak English until he went to school?
Well, I think that, like any other person, as a child, usually in Lakota society, the grandparents are very influential in raising a child. And that's part of what they teach you, is that how to respect elders and how to respect the thinking of every individual. The counter of that in Western civilization, Lakota people used to say, why they do these things? They come to our house and we feed them, and then they take the spoons and the knives. When they come to our house, pretty soon they wanted our whole house. Pretty soon they wanted the land. Pretty soon they placed us in the places that they thought were selective. And the reason why they did that is because they didn't have elders. The elders to tell them that this life that we all live is a continuous circle of feelings and footprints from time immemorial to the contemporary and in the future generations. That's the power that he had seen within his writing and in his thoughts that he only could get from his grandparents.
He had several books. I mean, going back to those stories, his book Lakota Way, that has so many stories of humility and perseverance and strength and every Lakota value in the Lakota Way stories. And then and he has been writing so long that a few of his books have actually gone out of print.
Well, I think that anything like that, in the generation that Joe and I grew up in, as far as Lakota language and Lakota thoughts and things, it was not really acceptable in many ways, because it was pretty much a circular thinking in talking about ceremonies, in talking about, well, all societies have that. All language in itself talks of that. But one of the things that I think that we do within literature is sometimes then we come back to something because it touches the inner part of all of us, that we need to have a connection. And one of those things I think that you mentioned was the concept of him being a writer in his generosity, not just of the present, not of just the past, but the future. And the other thing that I think that is to many people in thinking, Lakota is a whole different theology and different philosophy of life. It's not American Indian. It's not indigenous. It's not, those are words that have been placed in there, but what he captured was the essence of those thoughts that were given to him. What is it to treat somebody with respect? What is it that you can find something in being generous? And what is it that you find in providing something to another that has nothing?
Yes. And then he has a series, and it's called the Smoky River series. It's a mystery series, and one of the main characters is Gavin Lone Wolf, who is a PhD doctor in education, and he makes him his main character, which I thought was very well said. A main character who has a Western education, but who still lives in the Lakota way.
I think that could be several Lakota people. It's something that you learn as a young person with the context of the community in which you grew up. One of the things that I think that is outstanding in what is happening is that you find more people that are of Lakota descent that are coming back and saying, who was my grandparents? Or when they were forced into, by various churches and by adoption agencies, by the federal government and other places, they took them from the core, the foundation of learning was their family and their relatives. And so, but you remember that. And I think that the rest of within the United States, if we could look at that, we all say, well, we come from France, or we come from Germany, or Russia, or China, or some other place on this sphere we call Earth. But each one of those has an identity. But when you come here, you also adapt to Native Nations thoughts. You think about the Constitution of the United States and how it was borrowed, some of the words of the Iroquois, or some of the dwellings and some of the architecture, some of just the food products that have gone across the world and still feeds this world. And to learn from that. But they had the knack to realize that they were missing out on that because they really don't understand what it is to parlez-vous français, je ne comprends anglais, or they sprechen Sie Deutsch, what's that? They had in their language that part that talked to them about who they were. So we're all Americanized, we're all homogenized, and we're all in this together because of 500 years, half a century or more of this relationship. So it's part of you, and so you should read those because it gives you a direction.
Yes, and another one of his books, Walking with Grandfather, and then Crazy Horse Weeps, talk about how hard it is to be a Lakota in this age right now, and the hope for coming back to Wo Lakota.
Well, I think that Marshall himself went through this. He was through this transition and transformation. He was a Ieska, he was a mixed blood. And we learned within the reservations and outside the reservations the concepts that people held. So he had two worlds in which he lived, and he was fluent in both worlds. So he wasn't just a one person, he was two people, because he understood Western civilization, and he understood Lakota oral history. And so what it gave him the opportunity is to express himself. And we have so many younger people and older adults that have had that experience, that have traveled these two worlds, and that they're part of the gift to America, the concept of America. They help create that, and so even the stereotypes that people come up with, even the racial remarks and trying to degrade somebody, but still at the same time, what prevailed? The knowledge. And it was good knowledge. And it's knowledge that's going to help the future of this country. It's knowledge that can't be lost.
Okay, well, we're going to do 2 little videos because that's all we have. That's all we can set up. So we're going to end the discussion about Joseph Marshall we're very sad about his passing. He really gave us a wealth of knowledge and experience, and he was involved with um, telling the stories of the Lakota, and also was a screenwriter. He was well known in the entertainment industry. He passed his knowledge on to everyone he could, and we thank him for it.
I'd just like to say, Joe, rest in peace. You have given on your journey and your footsteps to this world. What you have left is a legacy. A legacy that I'm proud to say that I had a small part in being part of it. I will miss you, Kola, Doksha, Aki.